In this video, we'll learn an easy way to import Excel data into RStudio. The data is always set up so that the variable names and nothing else are in the first row. Each row represents one observation, and each column represents one variable. Nothing is in the columns to the right of the data or the rows below the data. First, you need to create a new folder to hold your data. Use your desktop or any other convenient location. There's a folder on the class Blackboard site named RData in CSV format. Go to that folder and open the paytime data. Make a copy of the data file and paste it in the data folder you created. Next, open RStudio. In the Environment pane, select Import Dataset. In the drop-down, click From Text Reader, READR. The next screen shows the name of the dataset in the lower left corner. Some R code to import the data is shown in the lower right corner, and a Browse button is in the upper right corner. Click the Browse button, navigate to your data file, and click on the dataset. In the lower left corner, the name of the dataset is changed to Paytime. When you start using RStudio to analyze the data, you'll have to type the dataset name several times. Sometimes the dataset name is long and inconvenient to type, so I usually change it to something like My Data, which I do here. I also change the assignment operator to an equal sign. The so-called experts say using the equal sign is not good programming style, but to me it's easier because the assignment operator, less than, and the minus sign take several keystrokes, and the equal sign just takes one keystroke. In the lower right corner, the code to import the data is automatically created. The first line of code installs the readr package, which R can use to import CSV data files. The second line of code is the actual R code that imports the data. The third line displays a view of the data. I usually delete the third line of code. I normally copy this code, and in the next step, I paste the code into the source pane. When I save the file in the source pane, the code that imports the data is saved along with the rest of the code. This way, I can open the file, and the code for importing the data is ready to use. Click Import, lower right corner, and the data is imported. Here's the screen after the dataset is imported. I pasted the code that imports the data in the source pane. Line 1 of the source pane says hashtag how to import data. This is how you make a comment. Anything on the line after a hashtag is ignored. The console in the upper right part of the screen simply confirms that the dataset was imported, and it has one column named Days. On the left in line 4, I added the head function with the name of the dataset in parentheses. This function shows the variable names. This data just has one variable, and the first 6 lines of data, so it's a way to take a peek at the data. I normally focus the cursor on line 1 and then repeatedly hit the Run button one line at a time to run the code. In the console pane, notice the variable name is Days with an uppercase D. R is case sensitive, so referring to this variable, you have to use an uppercase D, otherwise you get an error message. In many sophisticated statistical packages, it's pretty hard to import data, but RStudio makes it easy. Thanks for watching, and please let me know if you have any questions.